Hello, welcome to this episode of the KLU Keep Looking Up podcast. We're your hosts, Persephone.
Anton, nice to meet you.
Hello. As if you hadn't, just binged the last like 3 episodes or more, however many we're up to now, and you're here. It's way more than that. I like lost count already. But yes, today we are playing catch up on all the stuff that's been going on. So, yeah, and Anton, you have stuff that you want to talk about, particularly that paper that we've released on our YouTube, which, if you haven't seen, I highly encourage you to go and check it out. Not only to support Anton, but to read what he has to say because it's super important. And I feel like that's mainly going to be our topic today. So, yeah, why don't we delve into it?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I definitely wanted to talk about different ways that not just the U.S. government, but any spacefaring government can come together when it comes to not even just UAP, but just in in a global space um, initiative. There's a lot of benefits to it, but there's also some very obvious cons that don't make it possible right now, like namely geopolitics. So, yeah, I mean, look, we can definitely talk about all that. Um, yeah, I mean, what are your opinions on a global space front?
I mean, in general, my opinion on globalization is I mean for everything is that I think in order to become a spacefaring race, we need to consider like more globalizing and less compartmentalization of all the different countries because and this is going to be a lifelong process that probably goes well beyond our generation. Like it's not something that can just like instantly happen.
Yeah,
Um
absolutely.
but yeah, I think that it's very important going forward because just even national security wise, safety wise, like it, there's a lot of risks to spacefaring travel without working together. Um, you know, there's a lot of ways that people could sabotage each other, and I think we're at the point where we should just be working together to move forward, especially scientifically. And as we move forward into interstellar travel, like last episode, we heard Steve Bissett talking about that may be a potentiality within our lifetimes, or just past our lifetimes. Um, yeah, so I think it's important.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's there's just so much that can go wrong in space, and I mean, first of all, you have to consider the logistics. You have to consider like supplying any people you have in space. You need to consider updating technology? Are you going to have like a mix of AI and human controlled assets? Are you going like how are you going to colonize? Like how much of the commercial sector is it going to be? What nations' commercial sectors are is it going to be? Is it going to be under a unified public sector that takes in kind of different minds from different countries, like space? Like we don't necessarily need Elon Musk or Richard Branson. We could there's all kinds of rich people around the world from different countries who could help in this. Anyone who has an interest, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. We have so many brilliant minds around the world. I mean, it doesn't make sense to have one country kind of trying to be the only one going to space. I mean, it just makes more sense in pretty much every way, financially, manpower wise, and like why are we fighting in space? That right there is a pretty absurd notion. I think warfare is inevitable with any geopolitical nation, but I think we need to also start kind of mitigating that um, geopolitical frame of mind and diffusing it into a more global mind. And I really think having a kind of like um, a unified space front, an initiative where people pour in their own resources for the betterment of advancing the space sector for the world is probably the move. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
really think of a more effective means.
Well, I mean, and you brought it up too, like warfare in space is dumb, and the reason is because it's a lose-lose situation because let's say you're both in craft, you attack each other, guess what? You both die. Like you're not coming out of that okay. Like there's not good ways to survive in space right now. So it's kind of like why would you do that? Like it seems antithetical to exploration and science and learning to me. I don't know.
Space to me, space warfare is going to pretty much be in our atmosphere. I mean,
Fair.
space warfare is essentially just it's primarily intel based. I mean, the U.S. and China are pretty much number one and number two. Russia is not too far off, and India is catching up, but it's pretty much America and China. And I mean, that's pretty much the biggest problem. China, and every single reason why we can't have nice things, it's because U.S. and China got beef.
Yeah.
And this is not any different. I mean, something interesting to consider is that not that long ago, China had a pretty cold start in entering the space race, and then like 11 or 12 years later, they became the number two space power in the world. Like that's pretty, that's pretty scary. It's
And
impressive too, but you also have to wonder. Um, you also have to consider that most of their satellite or half of their satellites are basically based on spying. In the U.S., I mean, they're also based on spying, but they're doing it through private sector telecom companies, which I'll touch base on later. But
hmm,
not to mention all the litter in our LEO orbit. My God, it's just going to get worse with all these satellites getting shot up there, and
yeah.
it's going to, we need to start changing our focus.
Yeah, it just it goes back to why are we still on these territorial battles when there's things to be explored and done, I guess. I don't know, but I don't know if all of humanity's ready to let go of that yet, so it's just kind of a thing.
Well, yeah, it's
Um
like you said, it's not going to happen overnight, but we
yeah.
got to start.
Um mm, One other thing you mentioned was AI in space. That's a whole nother thing because I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. Like that's stuff we get to look forward to, I guess, too in the future. People
Yeah, well,
messing
I
with
mean,
AI.
it's interesting. I mean, AI is pretty much it's going in all sectors. It's even going into the intelligence sector. The intelligence community is going to be heavily relying on it. It's not going to outright replace them. I don't think it's going to outright replace any type of analytical role, but it's going to be its own sector, and then
Yeah.
that's going to raise its own problems of cybersecurity, especially. And AI warfare is going to be a thing. I mean, it's pretty much that's inevitable. Everything is always inevitably going to be a kind of warfare.
I'm
Um,
gonna, yeah, I'm gonna bring this up in a relatable way to people who aren't involved with military or things like that. So, just for an example, in my life sector, I work in customer service, and within the last 6 months, they have first they rolled out like a grammar corrector for our chat stuff. But by now, we have the potential for like AI to write our responses for us or like we write something and it can just rephrase it and make it sound better. But like there will come a point, especially if the AI is being trained, where it can just do it for us. Now, the company I work for is like, oh, we're never gonna replace like we're a people first company, which is whatever. But like they're like, oh, we would never do that. But there will come the day where AI is good enough that it can do that. And in other sectors, it's already happening. Like I'm sure the big name industries are already using it. So like it's happening. Like this is actually happening, you know?
yeah, it's interesting stuff. I mean, obviously everybody has their opinions on AI. I mean, I'm pro AI,
Yeah.
but I do understand how it affects and displaces some people. I
Yeah.
mean, well, I should say all people. I mean, truck drivers, artists. Um, it's gonna come down to the wire in the next like 10, 20 years. We're gonna see like a huge slash of jobs gone.
Yeah. I am
Um,
pro AI if we are not headed into a dystopian future and we're headed into the future where we have universal basic income and, moving towards more of a post scarcity society, which right now is nowhere in the cards unless there's some crazy thing that happens. But, like, I'm okay with AI taking over a lot of stuff if that's our future where we can be like, cool, AI can handle the hard, like, the shitty jobs that nobody wants to do or like even if you want to do it like they can handle that but like let the artists run free and let the like I don't know, like just live life and not have to work. Like, can we move into a society where we don't have to work? That would be great, but like that's not right now, that is not our future. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I can agree, but I really don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I
I
know.
think it's entirely gonna be profit driven. I mean, it doesn't even art, if they can, or even writing scripts or whatever. I mean, if they can find a way to better cost, more effective, and they can churn out more product, they're gonna do it, man.
It's
Like these
not as
people,
good, at least not yet.
and yeah, I mean, anyways, yeah,
Mm,
that's gonna
that's
be
a
very
whole nother
fast.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, in terms of space and doing things with AI, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And it's a new thing now. Are people going to hack it to attack each other? Like, I think it's pretty easy to see all the issues, like the obvious issues that are going to happen with this technology. Just in the current, you know, warfare situation that we're in. But yeah, I don't know. Why don't you?
But I mean,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
it it raises some interesting scenarios. I mean, you could use AI and Intel to misdirect people as well. I mean, you can intentionally get an AI caught to mislead or to exhaust resources or attention, or you can have it hack information that isn't real, which maybe they do this already.
They probably do.
But there's a lot. I don't know. There's a lot. If you're creative enough, I mean, I think there's a lot of really cool things for better or ill you can do with AI. Um, I really think data is going to be like, I mean, it is king, but now it's like that's pretty much the gold that these nations are extracting from each other. Um, Also, worthy of note is a lot of there's an argument to be had for data centers being moved to space because it's more cost effective. It's more effect production wise in the sense of like distributing the actual bandwidth. It's more effective. What's going to happen when China or some other country or even the US attacks another country and completely destroys their internet? That's going to be something to consider. I mean, there's a lot of internet companies and telecommunication companies that are moving to space that are being contracted by countries like the U.S., for example.
Yeah. What are you drinking tonight? We didn't address that. Normally we talk about that.
I'm drinking. Shit, I forgot the name. Milam and Green triple cask bourbon. I don't know if you could see that.
Ooh. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, shit is good, my guy.
I made a cocktail and I'm drinking yogurt soju. I know I already told you, but they don't know. I'm drinking yogurt soju, Sprite, and frozen berries. I
That
can't
is a
taste the
very
soju
interesting
at all.
flavor profile.
What?
So that's a very interesting flavor profile.
It is. I'm not sure if I like it. It's like a punch, but not sure about it. And like I said,
Hmm.
can't taste the alcohol, which is super dangerous. So, yeah. Anyway,
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to consider with space. I mean, it's been the last few years that I'm aware of. I mean, the intelligence community and the DoD have been working together in the space front, in terms of like contracting commercial space-based companies for telecommunications, which is basically code for spying and data collection. And a lot of these companies are going to get insured or indemnified if they get caught in conflict and their resources or assets are destroyed. So that's
yeah.
kind of interesting. So you and I are paying for that if somebody decides to fuck up their internet satellites.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I don't know what to feel about that. It's like I don't I'm just like why is this not being discussed more? I think there's just a whole can of worms in such global um surveillance. I mean, obviously there's already intense surveillance going on in major countries, China, US, and what have you, but this is crazy. Like this is going to get more sophisticated and more sophisticated, and I don't really see a goal to unite. And there has been discussions of the U.S. and other countries sharing data and intel. with each other with space-based communications, but I mean, it's nothing really concrete, you know? Like I don't see a plan for moving forward. I mean, if these UAP allegations are true, I mean, that opens a whole nother can of worms. Like, do you know how terrified the DoD must be if China has this already?
It's pretty scary
I mean,
because we're
they're
not
probably
in this
losing their
global spot. Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. They're probably afraid of losing superiority, global sovereignty. I mean, it's always been in their mind, China, 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 and for good reason. I mean, I understand why, but they simply have more bodies. They have more people. I mean,
Yeah.
they could throw all kinds of people at a UAP, and they're more than likely gonna get um more bang for their buck from what they get out of it than whoever the fuck Joe Schmo in a basement is doing here in the U.S.
You know, it's funny
Um,
though. I was thinking about it. How funny would it be if it's like we're all focused on China and Russia, and it's like just like some dude in Paraguay figured out how to fly one of these things and is like terrorizing the world. Like,
like
just like
one
one
guy.
guy. I am the world power now. Like, anyway, maybe that's already happened. Maybe some of these crashes have been people who figured it out and died because of it. Who
Just some
knows?
crazy guy from Mexico.
Just like I got it. It's me. But no, yeah, I agree. But I think again, this is where we need to shift from the fear of losing global superiority and like focus towards global cooperation, because that's the reality. If this technology comes out, is whoever has it and whoever can make it work obviously is going to be number one. So it's like, if we work together, then yeah, but I can see why no one would do that. Anyway, I don't know. Even as I said it, I was like, oh, they're laughing at how naive I sound. Like, it's
Yeah,
just
but I mean, on the flip side of that, it's like um, the nation that exerts its superiority is the one that's going to lead the world into the future.
yeah.
Um, if I'm speaking purely from a geopolitical point of view, because there's really no incentive for enemy nations to work together right now. Just look. I mean, that's probably the biggest problem a lot of people are not considering is understanding the history of conflict and warfare and geopolitics between countries that's got us into where we are now. Like it's kind of foolish and naive to just release this information and then be like, okay, aliens are real and here's the technology for UAP and now some country is making some insane death weapon to kill their neighboring country because of how they because of history.
Yeah.
You know, we need to expand beyond the Earth. I mean, there's so many resources we can extract in space. Like, it would lead to a utopia if we were smart, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because like,
that's
oh,
the thing.
sorry.
No, that's it. That's all I have to say.
I was just gonna say, like, to elaborate on what he's saying, there are planets that literally, if I recall right, are raining, I want to say, rubies and diamonds in the atmosphere. Like, I can't remember what planet it is, but like through the scans and the research they've done, it's like literal gemstones raining down in the sky. Like, I don't know how
I don't
safe
even,
it is to go collect them, but I'm just saying, like, there's so
I don't even
much
know
out
about that.
there. Huh?
There's asteroids you can mine, and you'll be
Yeah.
a fucking multi-trillionaire. There's
Yeah.
10 asteroids in our solar system, and you'll be multi, a fucking gorillionaire, bro. Whatever the number is.
And then you won't have asteroids flying around trying to destroy the Earth. You can just mine them and, break them down and stuff.
Yeah,
So
and
they're
like
not like,
there's and then there's the whole concept of colonization and being strategic and like setting up stations and like it's kind of hard to do that when you have another country fucking your shit up
yeah,
on Earth and in space, and then you're just wasting time, resources, lives, manpower, everything. And in space, you know how stupid it is to fight in space. Like everything is constantly moving. As soon as you lose like a fleet, you're done, dude. Like you're not recovering that. Good luck.
yeah,
What are you gonna defend a nebula, bro? Like, what are you smoking, dude? Like, this is so silly to me. Like, there is no way we are going to get off this planet until we have some. I'm not saying to get rid of and relinquish all um hatred or anything like that. I think that's also naive. But I think we need to at least form some kind of organization that is focused on cooperation and it's like a filter to bring in people instead of having nothing,
Well,
because this is crazy.
here's a question I'm asking you. Not that you like, you know more than me about this stuff. Would it be possible to just create a private sector around the world, like you're saying, without relying on these like billionaires or people that are working with the government? Would we be able to just do that and just go out into space and just kind of fuck off? Like, I don't know.
What
I'm
do
not
you
saying that we should. Like, I'm saying, is it possible? Could we create a global effort, like globalization, world peace, if you want to put it that way, but like working together to go out into space and do this stuff without relying on the governments, or we can't. There's no way to do it without like
I don't think
government
that's
input.
possible.
Boo.
I don't think that's possible. I mean,
That'd be
have you
cool.
ever heard have you ever heard of Rainbow?
No.
Rainbow, it's like this event that a bunch of like hippies go to. And you live in a commune, bro. Like it's supposed to be like this beautiful kumbaya, but like just having 10 people in a little like campsite just trying to like survive without any help is like it's just not happening, dude. Like you're
Yeah.
stuck. You're very limited. And ultimately you're gonna have to make some kind of government anyway. So to me it's
True.
just a waste
Well,
of time. I mean, it's a beautiful thought, but like we need government effort and funding to make this a reality.
yeah. I guess private funding wouldn't be enough to. I mean, Musk is trying. Musk really wants to be Emperor of Mars. I don't know.
And look, Elon can do what he wants, but I guarantee you he has government help in the background. I mean,
Probably.
with Starlink and stuff. I mean, Starlink is gonna be subject to conflict from other nations, and I mean, and I'm sure the DoD and the IC are utilizing Starlink to their advantage too. I mean, there's no way they're not. There's absolutely no way they're not. So I mean, the public sector has been responsible for pretty much every major invention in the modern world. The internet, a lot of the technology on the iPhone, like GPS, even Siri. Um, it's they do a lot of R&D heavy lifting and a lot of funding, and the private sector essentially will make a product out of that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's kind of just like an ecosystem here. I just hear a lot of people think the private sector is the be all end all for innovation, but that's simply not true. They're innovative in a capitalistic sense and like making profit, but at the dime of the public sector, the state. Um, that's why I think the state needs to be the one doing the R&D heavy lifting because that's what they're the best at. So
Fair.
just my sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is because this is not my wheelhouse. This is your wheelhouse. So I'm just here providing commentary. I'm the peanut gallery today. Me and Bleeborg in the peanut gallery. That should be a band.
Bleeborg in the Peanut Gallery,
Hell yeah, I'd listen to that.
Probe 69, bro. I'd be all in that.
Yo, we have friends that write music. I write music, but I'm not writing that. Someone else write some stuff. Send it to us. That'd be great. We'll play it. We'll listen to it.
So bad at writing music and well, I've never really tried, so that's why. But but drawing, I also suck at drawing. Those are my two weaknesses,
Your
I
two
think.
weaknesses. I am like an okay sketcher. I'm okay at sketching and pretty good at painting, but not well. Like people look really weird. I remember one time I had a friend who is an artist and a graphic designer, and I showed him something I was working on, and he was like, "I see what you're trying to do," and I'm like, "Fuck, that's like such a deep burn." Like,
The
you know,
roast.
it was such a roast. It was great. But anyway, yeah, no, that's music is my thing. It's always been my thing. Writing's always been my thing. I just haven't done it. Oh, you froze like this. You're like with your cup in your hand, just like. Anyway, what else we talking about today? Tell me more about your paper. What else do you want to talk about that's in there, or is that pretty much your main like?
Well,
I
that's
but
part. I
there's a
mean,
lot
it's
more.
part of it. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, one thing I want to comment on. I'm sure by the time we release this, it'll either be right before November 16th or maybe after. But there's just something I
Mm,
think people should keep in mind is, the IC and the DoD are working very closely in the space front. So I mean, I wouldn't expect all the answers to come out, if any, during the 16th because one, these the members of Congress don't have proper clearance, and two, they're obviously on the same side of cooperating under the guise of national security. So I mean, just something to keep in mind.
Well,
Um,
yeah, that goes back to last week, the last 2 weeks, because I'm gonna have to split it into 2 episodes. But when we talked with Stephen Bissett, and he was saying how Congress kind of butted in this process and was kind of like, is kind of in the middle of this disclosure process that he believes is already occurring. Whether or not that's true for us, of course, that's speculation. We don't know anything, but it's interesting because, like you're saying, yeah, they don't have the clearance, so what's going to come out if anything comes out? Now, if they were smart, they'd use this opportunity to get ahead of whatever narrative they want to put out there, but I don't know if they want to give that to Congress. So, we'll see.
yeah, I mean they seem to be their intention seems to be to control disclosure on their terms. And they're doing everything in their power to make sure that it goes the way they want it. I mean, if this information gets out and they're not prepared to deal with what's going to come, then yeah, of course they don't want it to come out. Um, with that said, I feel like you can at least acknowledge the existence of NHI
Yeah.
and other civilizations that will fundamentally change the fabric of our world and how we perceive the world. And that right there is going to be probably the greatest gateway to unifying the
Yeah.
planet because there's other intelligent civilizations out there. You know how insane that is to
Yeah.
comprehend? Like I'm killing this person over here because their great great grandfather killed my great great grandfather, and now I'm killing his great great grandson, and it's just like why am I doing this, dude? Like, like
Yeah,
it's just
no, it makes zero sense. Like these old grudges. Like I get it. I get it. And I get that it's painful and I get that there's a lot happening that we don't know about, but it's like just, I don't
yeah,
know. And
a
that's
lot
kind of
more
the other thing.
complicated.
Hmm?
I said it's definitely a lot more
Yeah.
complicated than that. It's simply just that's just like a little that's just a very
Yeah.
sliver of an example, you know.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a good not even metaphor. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's like it's a good anecdote for like kind of what we're trying to say here, but I think this could be a good opportunity too because if we reveal the existence of NHI, theoretically, they might decide to start making contact more openly. Or, there may already be a pre agreed plan. Again, all of this is speculation. Who knows? Who knows what's out there? But let's say we do, they might know how to help us through this process. They might be like, hey, you know what? 3,000 years ago, me and Bob over in, Zeta Reticuli fought all
Yeah.
the fucking time. And guess what? We figured it out. Here's how we figured it out. Here's how you could figure it out. Here's how we all learned to stop killing each other and explore the universe. And you can too. Like, and they may have already like come to us and said this kind of stuff and we might have ignored it, but maybe we're more ready to hear it now. Like, again, all speculation. Who knows? But like,
No,
huh?
I said of course. Yeah, keep
But
going.
like, but yeah, no, but this could be a golden opportunity to be like, you know what? Hey, space brethren, whatever, like, we need your help. Like, how did you guys do it? And then they'll be like, oh no, actually, we're still fighting. And be like, damn, okay, well, we tried. I don't know. Who knows what they'll say? But
It's like the opposite. It's like here's how we killed Bob.
yeah,
It's super easy.
super
He
easy. You
split
can do
his
it too.
atom.
Yeah. And now, you all fight now, fight, and then whichever one of you wins will help, okay? Yay! Have fun! Like, bye! Like, oh, I hope not. That would suck. But anyway.
I mean, I'm sure there's different kinds, of NHI.
Oh yeah, there's some that are whispering in the ears of people like kill them all, and there's the others who are like be good and get rid of your nuclear weapons, please. We beg you. Don't listen to him. No, listen to me. Kill them. It's like Gollum, just like it's the same NHI just talking to themselves, and everyone's like run away. Well, anyway.
It's just insane.
Yeah, one of the yeah, we find out they just send like all the worst ones here to like contact us, and all the good ones are way far away, and it was like we only get the worst of the worst. Anyway,
Yeah,
who knows?
they empty their prisons, their space prisons, and they send all their crazy and criminal people to our planet.
Oh God. Oh Lord. I could believe it. Who knows? They may be amongst you right now. Oh no.
Maybe that's what humans are.
Yeah, just the worst. Who knows? There's like whole theories about that. I don't think so. I think there's those of us who are good at heart somewhere deep inside. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just chilling here.
Yeah,
It's like we're
just
fighting
vibing.
on a sandbox.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, but yeah, so who knows? But right now there's no plan that is apparent anyway. Like there may be a plan, and maybe that's why it's taken so long. Is all these great minds had to come together over time and make a plan to work, but somehow I feel like it's just flying by the seat of their pants as it's happening. Like, oh, it's coming out, nothing we can do. Like,
You can only mitigate the damage. You can't get rid of it. You know.
yeah.
So
Well, there's still people on the internet and on Reddit, whatever Reddit, but there's still people who are like, "Oh, disclosure will never happen in our lifetime." Like I forget who it was. Some guy was just interviewed and it was like all over Reddit, like, "Oh, it won't happen within our lifetime." And I'm just like, most of the people we talk to are pretty convinced that it's happening, so it's just a matter of how. Like, you know.
yeah, I think I don't. I don't know if you're talking about that guy who supposedly hacked into like NASA or something.
I don't even know who it was. I was scrolling Reddit earlier today and I saw it briefly and I was just like, whatever. I didn't even
Yeah, I
give
mean
it a
Reddit to me
time of
is
day.
it's just it's Reddit. You know, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
I think disclosure is happening. It's just I don't think it. I think when people think of disclosure, they think like the president is going to come out and he's going to be like, "My fellow Americans, aliens are among us," and blah blah blah. Like it's not gonna. I don't.
Our space brethren.
That would be fucking awesome, and I personally would love to see that.
Me
But
too.
I think it's going to come out in a way that is not going to immediately scare the fuck out of the world in the population because when humans are emotional and hyper like aware and like anxious and scared like a lot of humans, that's very dangerous. um and I mean think of it as like you're dedicated to national security. The last thing you want to do is rile up a bunch of nut jobs who are going to take that opportunity to cause damage.
So how
What's your
would you
plan?
do it? How would you do it then? Like what do you think is the right move or the right way to do it? Because I don't know if there is a good way. But what would you do?
Well, that's just it. There is no good way.
Yeah.
There's only the way, and like I said, you can only mitigate damage. Um, Human conflict and destruction is inevitable. The question is how much. I think the United States should be taking the lead
Mhm.
in this. By you could probably release. I mean, obviously, I don't know what the right answer is. I'm just saying what I think they should do. Um, I think they should prove first of all that UAP is very specifically something, not necessarily just unidentified anomalous phenomenon. They should say this is what we have, and they don't have to give everything. They shouldn't give everything. They should show something they're willing to get rid to willing to put out to the world that they maybe China already has it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like this is what we have. This is the bodies that we have. These are the species we know of. We are not alone, and we're working together with NASA and Air. I mean, they're going to say Arrow, but like nobody trusts them. But they're going to be like Arrow,
Nobody trusts
NASA,
them.
and we welcome the our greatest minds to come and help us uncover this mystery. They don't have to say like this is the so and so civilization from Zeta. They don't have to say that because that's too crazy.
Yeah.
For most people wouldn't believe that. More people would believe, I think, the former, what I said,
Yeah.
and invite people to come in on this journey of discovery. And you're actually going to probably learn more shit that way because you have more minds and more bodies. Kind of
Yeah.
like what I said with just by virtue of numbers. It's like a 4x grand strategy game. Like the more bodies you got, the more you're going to output. So
No, I think that's really smart. I think that's a good way of presenting it and doing things so that it'd be a lot smoother. I'm going to add to that. I think I think they should do it on a major holiday when people are together in their homes. So it might have to be closer to like I'm going to say like Thanksgiving or something. Something where people are
can you
relaxed,
imagine
they're at home with their
Independence Day?
families. No, I'm just saying, like, they're at home with their families, so people aren't like, 4th of July is not a good holiday to do it because people are out in the street at parades. It's gonna be Independence Day, first of all. Secondly, people are gonna start throwing shit. It's gonna be fucking riots in the streets. Like, no. Like Thanksgiving. People are home, they're sitting at home, they're eating turkey. By the time you hear this, it'll be about that time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would
Now
be a good
that'll
time.
be a table discussion. That'd actually be really smart, like, and
Yeah.
interesting. Like Thanksgiving, like, talk about a fucking conversation.
Yeah. I don't know any other holiday where you're at home sitting around with your family, but like that would be a good weekend to do it. And should do it around a weekend or a holiday so that people can take off if they have to for a few days to or longer. You know? Like I personally that's how I do it. Now I'm no sociologist, I'm no psychologist, but that just seems logical to me. I don't know.
I agree. I mean, you should plan for things like that. I mean, give people time to take a couple days, and I mean, some people won't care. Some people will be like, "What the fuck?" I don't know. It's everybody's different. I mean, people
Yeah.
aren't a monolith, so I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. But that's just how I'd do it if it were me. Um But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna come out, and I really hope they don't make us wait another like 10 years. I really hope they don't. So
Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to be 10 years personally.
doesn't feel
Um,
like
I
it.
I think it. I mean, the amount of progress made on this topic in the last like what 7 or 8 months, not even, and we're including the break from Congress. I mean, from Grush to now, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, like it's moved
Pretty crazy.
fast. Like a lot of people get frustrated. Again, on the interwebs, a lot of people get mad because they want instant gratification because,
Yeah,
I'm going to blame your generation. Sorry. It's a lot of zoomers and younger are like, "We want it now" because it is kind of we have even us, even millennials, we've become a lot more of a TikTok generation, At 2 minutes and 30 seconds is like the max we're willing to focus on a thing unless it's like in the background and we can like absorb it or something.
yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
this is you're right, but like people need to also realize this is like the slowest, most bureaucratic monster on the planet, the United
Yep.
States government, and it's fucking insane this is
Oh,
happening.
but it's moving so fast for being that.
Exactly.
Like nothing moves this fast. Like the fact
Yeah,
that that
it's
Schumer
crazy.
amendment got put in so quickly to the NDAA is insane. It's like they have to know something. Something's going on. I wish I knew what it was, but we all do. But like something's going on. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they need to frame it in a way that preserves or even extends their national sovereignty. But I do ultimately believe the United States should take this opportunity to be that guiding hand to uniting. I mean, we're the only space force on the planet, like the actual military branch space force on the planet.
yeah.
I don't think it's a coincidence the DoD has been trying to do this for like decades.
It's not a coincidence either that they're massively recruiting right now. Like, I don't know if you know this, but anyone who signs up right now is in for active duty for 8 years. I find that very intriguing.
Oh, I didn't know that. The Space
Anybody,
Force?
Space Force, anybody who signs up right now is active duty for 8 years. And I found this out from a family member who's in the military. So I thought that
That
was
well,
really weird,
I don't think anybody wants to serve 8 years.
which is maybe why they're having trouble finding people. They might need to lower that number a bit if you guys are listening. Uh,
Well, I mean,
but yeah.
that kind of is interesting. I mean, a lot of the Space Force is oriented towards intel and reconnaissance and working with with the IC. I mean, that's interesting. 8 years
Eight
in the Space
years.
Force. The
And the
fuck are you
other
gonna be?
the other input that I got was like all of our next wars are going to be space based. So like what you were saying at the beginning, that was the input that I got from some of my not close, but some of my military people that I know. They
Yeah.
were like, "Oh yeah, the next wars will all be in space," and I was like, "Interesting. Okay."
Well, I mean, space warfare. We're close. Like when people think of space warfare, they think of like Tie fighters and shit, like shooting
Immediately,
lasers.
insert Tie Fighter noise right here. Pew pew pew.
This is very much the intelligence committee, the intelligence community's game.
Yeah.
Um, this is all intel and virtue of numbers of getting satellites out there and getting minds out there, actual human minds out there, analyzing the data and also counterintelligence. I mean, this is psyops and reconnaissance has been like becoming more and more sophisticated and probably more and more important than actual boots on the ground. I mean, boots on the ground is important when you're in actual war, but like traditional war. But obviously, that's the last thing you want to do unless you have no choice, or if you see a great like a great um what's the word?
Opportunity? No.
Yes, opportunity. That doesn't really benefit most people, but I digress.
It's fine. Um, I want to take a second. I'm writing down the time.
Okay.
I want to take a second to set this scene. Thanksgiving, you're all sitting around the dinner table. Grandpa and your dad are like cutting the turkey, and it's like, by the way, kids, aliens are real. That's all. That's all. I just wanted to do that. Anyway, we
It'd
can
be
cut that out and
interesting to
put it
see.
somewhere else.
It'd be interesting to see the different generations of uh of people commenting on such an announcement.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect time to do it. Like, I can't think of any other holiday that would be better. Like, I just don't.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea, I think. Thanksgiving.
Yeah, whoever's listening, take it straight to Biden. I don't care. Tell the executive branch.
I'm
Disclosure by
sure they
Thanksgiving. Maybe
I'm
next
sure
year.
they have I'm sure they have all this their own little shit written out of
I'm
what they're
sure.
doing.
Well, they probably have a
But
good plan. Like, yeah.
yeah.
But it's funny because I even forget where I read it, or maybe it was just a conversation I had with someone, but they were like, you'll see like how this is going to pan out. Like, first they're going to find life on another planet, or there's evidence of life on another planet, then they're going to find this, then this is going to happen like scientifically, and these things are going to be announced, and basically like it's going to slowly lead up to disclosure. And I feel like that's been happening because, like, if you've been following, anyone's been following science news, it's like James Webb is out there searching for signs of life. Oh, we found the potentiality for bacteria on another planet and water on another planet. And here's this stuff. Like, it's almost like they are setting the stage because they're just seeding it into the public mind. Like, here's the things that are happening, like, leading up
Yep.
to it. I don't know.
I mean, say what you will about NASA being a smokescreen for the DoD, but when they said that they're trying to bring UAP into the realm of science, that right there was the green light
Hmm. Yeah.
to really start this.
No hard feelings, NASA. Even Senator Nelson. No hard feelings here. Like, I
Why?
approve. I approve of NASA. Like, I like what you guys do. You guys were like the heroes of my childhood. Like, Story Musgraves was a childhood hero of mine. Like, I don't know,
That's a
but
lot of good work.
yeah. What were you
Um,
saying? What'd you say? It cut you out.
no, I said NASA has done a lot of good work, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
they've released a lot of patents for other people to use on their website from all kinds of sectors. I mean, NASA. Yeah, I mean, I've got my opinions, but I also can't deny like all the amazing things they've done. You
Yeah.
know, life tends to be very gray, so I'll give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, life does tend to be gray. That's the thing. I think just going forward, everyone, just remember life isn't black and white. Everyone wants to make everything black and white. All NHI are good, all NHI are evil. The government's all bad or the government's all good. Guess what, everybody? We're all just people. Even NHI, I think. I think we're all just people at the end of the day, and that means you got all sorts, and it's a morally gray area, and you cannot paint things into corners. You just can't. Like, and we were talking, one of the things we wanted to talk about was like who to trust, sources of who to trust. Well, it's hard
Yeah,
to know because we don't know. Could somebody be a disinfo agent? I don't know. Half of the information out there could be bad info. We just don't know. But I think that's also the importance of why we need to move forward into an era of disclosure and if not full truth, at least as much truth as we can give without, again, national security risks, because like that's going to be very important. And I don't know, I hate seeing people paint things into corners.
yeah, I agree. I mean, kind of just you can just see it in our own politics. People are very easily take sides,
Yeah.
and that's just how we are. I mean,
I'm guilty of that. I did that. I
I've
did
done
that in
it
the
too.
list.
Everyone has done it
Oh yeah.
to at some point in their lives, and I think that's just how we are, like socially, and it's just easier.
It's
Yeah.
okay to be opinionated. It's okay to be like, I hate this person or so and so's a grifter, but you have to do it respectfully. That's the issue. And people kind of forget that line in all of this. So,
My thing is like you better back up what you're saying, because
yeah.
like you can hate somebody, but like you better give some compelling evidence as to why you're making that claim. And I think we need to take that stance just in anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, no, I don't think we will. But that's
No.
just my
I don't like what he said. Well, a lot of people say a lot of bad things. I say shitty things sometimes, and I'm like, oh, okay, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh,
But
you
I
should
think
hear me at work.
I don't want to know. What are you like the angry chef? Are you like the guy from
Oh no,
Ratatouille just like
I'm not
yelling at
angry.
everyone?
It's
Oh,
not no,
okay.
it's not like that. It's like we just when you work in a kitchen, like people we just say fucked up shit to each other. Like it's just how it is. And I'm not gonna say anything here because I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
get immediately immediately just
Shadow
banned from
banned. Yeah. Mhm. But I'm just saying, I think yeah, we need to approach this with as much respect as we're able, even but I really hope that people back their own stuff up too. I'm not like show me the evidence, bro, but I am to the DOD. Show me the evidence, bro. Please disclose. Ah.
uh, well, I think that's what's gonna take to get people on board is evidence.
Yeah.
Not just evidence, but like I mentioned before, like holding your hand out and and saying, "Help us be a part of this journey." You don't have to say it like that, but bring people on,
Okay.
scientists, everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson will be like,
I hope they get him involved. Like honestly, like release the evidence so people like him can start looking into all this stuff. Like
he's
I'd
open
love
to
to
it.
hear what he has to say that isn't just totally skeptical about it. Like once it's out there, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, he's doing his job
Yeah,
as a traditional mainstream scientist. I mean, it can be frustrating, but I mean, what else are you supposed to do?
exactly. Let's talk briefly because so we are currently in the week where we just had the first skiff. By the time you guys hear this, I think it'll be around the time for the second one. So, yeah, let's just talk a little bit about some of the reactions and what kind of came out of that because I thought it was really interesting the probable slip because I don't think he meant to say it that Burlinson, Representative Burlinson said about the propulsion system, which was the lead-in over top of the theme song for this today. But yeah, basically he said that they have systems of propulsion that they don't really know about. But of course, it wasn't implied it's from UAP or from where it's from. Or did he say they don't know where it's from? Hold
He
on.
said that he made it clear that
Yeah.
he didn't think it was anything earth shattering, and that he wasn't losing sleep over it.
Yeah.
And he was losing sleep over like the war in Ukraine and the national budget deficit and political speak. But he basically thinks that it's not. He probably doesn't think it's NHI. He thinks somehow we have some crazy ass propulsion system. I think.
Okay,
Obviously,
that's a fair
I'm
read.
just inferring.
I did think it was very interesting though for being such a hardcore skeptic in the beginning that then he turned around and helped them sign into the legislation like yesterday or whatever that was, or I don't know if it's signed in yet, like I don't know if it's approved, but he put in the financial part for the whistleblowers, like they're trying to help mitigate any issues with whistleblowers and things like that. And I was like, well, that's interesting that he turned around and did that. But of course, he wants to know what people like Grush have to say, like, because especially
Yeah,
if they don't think it's true, they really want to know. Because it's like, well, then what is true?
exactly. And like, and his stance, I'm pretty sure is the money laundering slash losing money aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is the Pentagon doing? And Burchett says it all the time. Every single talk, it could have nothing to do with the DoD. He'll be like, the Pentagon hasn't ever passed an audit, and blah blah blah.
In
It's just like
five
he
years.
always,
5 years.
yeah,
5
and
years.
like he makes that abundantly clear, and I think he's smart saying that because that's a great jumping point for other Congress members to jump into. It's like, well, he's right. Let's get to the bottom of this. Maybe we'll get answers. I mean, we don't have to believe it's NHI or what have you, but we do believe without probably that they're laundering money or doing something with money that needs oversight.
Well,
So
take it or leave it, but Matt Laszlo of Askapol was doing an AMA on Reddit earlier today, and I was catching a few of his answers. I haven't checked it in a while, but somebody had asked basically to the effect of how prevalent do you see this issue being in our government? And he was interestingly, he was like, well, there's a few senators who care, but otherwise it's not really widespread. He was like, but Congress has a lot of people who are like fired up about it. And so I think it's important, again, continue to write your reps, write your senators. I know in a previous episode we said don't, but I would still like let them know, maybe not like every day, like don't be like weird, but still continue to let people know that you care and use X about it.
shoot or shoot,
Yeah.
ride them every day like a crazy lover. I mean, why not?
Just how are you doing today? I was wondering if you had looked into the UAP thing I mentioned yesterday in my letter to you. Senator Rubio. We're at 51 minutes.
So policy, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could talk about. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, is there other stuff that we want to talk about that's happened in the last weeks that we haven't covered? I don't really know if
uh,
there's much happening right now.
not really. I can't think of anything like
Yeah,
really that's happened. Because that before the hearings, it was a lot of it was just waiting for the hearings.
yeah.
So
Um, so ideally, let's say, we get a Thanksgiving disclosure. We won't, but let's just say we get a disclosure. Um, what do you think the next steps are going to be after that? I mean, obviously, I don't know what we're going to be able to do to mitigate people, but
well, I mean that opens a can of worms because you basically um, have decided to play your first move on the day that's yes, Thanksgiving has its own history with colonizers, but like really in modern America, it's about sitting with your family and eating good food. Um, if I'm being completely honest, so you're basically playing that move, um, and I think it's interesting and smart because you're with your family when you see this, ideally at least. Um, you're able to have conversation and voice your concerns and anxieties and thoughts and whatever, and it'll be pretty much ingrained in the minds of this the public conscious that like yeah, Thanksgiving was the day that we got disclosure,
yeah.
and you're kind of overwriting history in a sense, in a weird sense. It's like it started with pilgrims and murdering them and taking their land to the day that
You mean natives, not pilgrims. Pilgrims did the murdering,
pilgrims
really.
did the
But yeah.
murdering. Is what I meant. Um, to the day where there are other pilgrims out there, potentially space pilgrims.
Space
So
Pilgrim. Hey, Space Pilgrim, come on down. Well, you're already hearing your grandma and your aunt argue over like which cranberry sauce recipe was the traditional recipe in the family for years, and they're still fighting about it, even though everyone knows it was the cranberry orange one. But your aunt's insisting that when she was a child, it was just plain cranberry, and that's what it's always been. And the two of them are already fighting over it. Your one uncle's drunk in the corner, your other younger cousins are off to the side pretending that like they don't know you because that's just how it is, like on their phones and whatever, like, so we're already used to like some tense moments with Thanksgiving, I think, and even if you're with your friend family, if it's a friendsgiving, like even better, those are the people you want to sit there and talk about this stuff with. So it's like it's a great time to bring this stuff up. So I'm going to say, even though we're probably not getting a Thanksgiving disclosure, though it's a great idea, TM me, credit me, name it after me. I don't fucking know. Don't do that. But anyway, um even if we, don't get that, I think this holiday upcoming is a great time to talk to your family about it and be like, again, hey, did you hear about the hearing in June, with Grush? And, this is a great time to start talking about this. And even if you end up in a fight, you might have already, because it's Thanksgiving and that happens. So, at least in my family, I don't know. People are always arguing about some stupid shit. So, give them something good to argue about this time. Them
Yeah,
A's.
yeah. I mean, even you release it on Thanksgiving, and you can promise more details after New Year's. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, when as we go into the new year, more, we'll learn more, whatever. It'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of looking forward to, or maybe not looking forward at all, but you're looking at the new year is going to literally be a new like paradigm of reality. Like that's fucking wild to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it's smart to plan it around the changing of the guard or a changing of a year because you could literally, like, that year is now year one of what's new. So it's pretty decent.
Mhm.
It's a decent way to do it. Or, you start the process now. You pass that legislation. So, by what were we saying, like August, the first papers could potentially be released to the public after the Council of Nine looks through it or whatever and decides what's allowed to be disseminated to the public. I don't know. But like, yeah, you could potentially start having your first papers, I think around then, like August, September, like end of next year. So it's like perfect timing to like lead right into that. If I don't know, that's just me personally, but
No,
that'd be
I
neat.
agree. I agree. I concur. I mean, and who knows? Maybe they are working with people in our government, in the DoD or other branches in the IC, or who are helping them, like kind of like consultants about how to disclose. You know, like I don't think they're a monolith,
Yeah.
but I do think there's definitely different factions that are directly opposed to how to bring this information to the public and for what reasons.
Yeah.
So
Well, because of course, there's always going to be factions who are like, we need to know everything. Just like in the public, there's people who are like, we should know everything. Nothing should be held back. And then there's the slightly more conservative angle, which even I'm on, of the, well, maybe not everything. People may not be ready for everything in terms of national security stuff, like, at least for me. Like, or like you're saying, is it's too much detail to be like, yes, we know that this species exists and here's their home or whatever, but hey, if the government's already working in secret with some, Hollywood director somewhere, and they're making a documentary about this particular species, and they're going to just release it in the new year after our nice Thanksgiving disclosure in this scenario that I'm making up in my mind, wouldn't that be great? Like, that documentary releases in 2025, like, here you go, and now we know about our space brethren. Like, it'd be crazy, it'd be awesome. I don't know if they're
I'm
that together.
I'm just imagining like they release the name of like a species and the planet it lives on, and some crazy redneck is like trying to find it in his binoculars, and he has like a shotgun, and he's like, "You leave me, girl!" Like trying to
Shoot
shoot
at
it.
it. I'm telling you, it's the drunk uncle at Thanksgiving. He's in the backyard trying to, like, drinking and trying to shoot at the planet with his shitty telescope that he's had since he was a kid. It's great. It's perfect. Perfect holiday fun for everyone.
100%.
But yeah, I don't know. Whatever happens, we hope that the world moves towards a more global mindset. That'd be great. It'd
I
be
could see
great.
that.
It'd be great if we had a Thanksgiving disclosure this year, but I am highly doubtful because, we're only we're like a month away right now as the time of recording, and it'll be even closer by the time you guys hear this. So, yeah, I doubt that's gonna happen, but if it did, that'd be sweet. But, yeah, I just think this is a good time to think about how this could unfold and go forward. And, what do you think? Let us know. Email us. Um, all
Or
that.
write a letter.
Or write letters every day. How you doing? Since my last letter 4 hours ago.
In case it got lost in the mail, I sent another.
Dear Bleeborg. All right, I'm gonna wrap up unless you have anything else you want to say.
Nah, I think we're good. I think we're good.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for listening yet again to another episode of the KLU Keep Looking Up podcast. If you want to reach us, write to us or Bleeborg, but please don't write every day. But you can reach us at klUthepodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's klUthepodcast@gmail.com. And other than that, you can find us on Insta and I don't know, most other places as Clue the Podcast. And we will be releasing soon. Actually, probably by the time you hear this, we will have released our links to the Patreon and our merch page. Lots of merch. Get merch. You know, you can wear Bleeborg on a shirt, guys. You can have Bleeborg upon your body. That sounds wrong. Okay. I'm just saying. Anyway, so thanks for listening. End the stigma, get a clue and keep looking up. The end.
Awesome.
Yay.
That
Doot
was cool.
doot
I like
doot
it.
doot 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 doot. Just Bleeborg with a top hat dancing. Ah, another good episode. Oh. Yeah, I just thought of that. I was like, damn, that's the perfect holiday for disclosure. Like,